So this company that I've mentioned before, we had started looking at this as one of the indicators as we were trying to understand how do we get to that $25 million level. We made the calculation and determined that we were right around 200,000 per employee. And the way that we did that is we took the last 12 months sales or revenue and we divided it by the average number of employees that we had. That's the calculation. We got to 200,000. That gave us an idea of where we were at. But the question is, where did we need to get to? And we agreed that probably around 250,000 is where we needed to be. And so we started to put in place a plan that would help us get there. That meant growing sales and allowing our team to grow with those sales, but in a measured and a controlled way. So this KPI really helps us assess the productivity of the team and if we're using those resources wisely and if we're scaling appropriately. One of the things we learned as we moved along is that later on, after several years, we suddenly realized that our revenue per employee was declining. And we had to take a step back and understand what had happened. Our growth had started to happen really quickly, almost like a rocket ship just taking off. And with that, we started to hire and hire and hire. But before long, the economy started to change on us. And sales growth started to slow down. But we kept hiring. And the more we hired, the lower that revenue per employee. And once we realized that it had gotten to a level that was too low and not sustainable, it was a little late. We hadn't paid attention closely enough to that particular KPI. And we were in a little bit of cash flow difficulty, and suddenly we had to make some significant reductions in force. If we had been tracking that more carefully, we would have slowed down the hiring, perhaps even stopped, and maybe even, if necessary, done a smaller reduction in force. But instead, we had to make some significant cuts. So when your RPE is declining, it may be that you need to cut your force, but maybe it also means you need to invest more in the team and in the systems that you have that we mentioned before to be able to grow your sales better. So it's a good indicator to understand where you're at.